All right, so welcome to the final episode of the John Brown Isekai. As you can hear my struggling voice, the rum and coke is hit.
Dang, that's your first one.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is that time of the night.
It's 9. What?
Hey,
9:30.
We've been drinking since 6.
So, that's nothing new for me, man.
That's true.
I just got here.
I'm a party guy.
Okay, so yeah,
we have
welcome
a
back
member.
to the John Brown
We have a
Isekai, and for the
frat
final
brother.
installment, we have 4 people on the team. So, just a little reintroduction. I myself, Read Out Productions, also known as Spencer. We got over here.
A Humble Collector, also known as Connor.
I'm just Jess, man.
Jessica.
Yeah, I go by Jess, though.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you just go by Jess Man. Like, the man.
No, I just add man to everything because I'm freaking.
And then last but not least, our newest inductee,
Mike.
Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, he's actually listened to the earlier episodes and he was interested in joining. Mike had a few other things to get to today. What have you been up to today, Mike?
Oh my gosh. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep.
Nice.
Had to drive out and we ran a 5K terrain race. I was covered in mud multiple times a day. Yep. Had to fix a car. That was cool.
Where'd the rain come from? It didn't rain where I was.
No, it was like artificial rain. But yeah.
Artificial.
Yeah, they made
So, like, tickle the clouds.
Yeah, no, it was a 5K and they put obstacles.
They tickled the clouds, really?
They got a feather up there.
They gotta freaking milk those things.
On the underbelly of Mother Nature. Okay. I've never heard of that, but that's cool.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. There were like obstacles. We had to like climb nets.
Was there a tornado?
I wish there was. No, but people, bodies flying everywhere.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
But no, yeah, just a lot of driving, a lot of running. So yeah, I'm not as many drinks in, but
Well, that's probably
That's
good.
about
Just
the
as much
change.
You can save our asses. Because
Remind me to take my contacts off.
yes.
Please.
I thought you did that on the break.
No, I peed.
Oh, okay.
I don't want
Why
to.
did you do both at the same time?
Because I don't want to be glasses already. I don't want
Not at
glasses
the same
already,
time.
man.
Well, not exactly. You know what I mean.
I can only do one thing at a time. I'm dumb.
Man, this rum's really good.
So that is the Humble Collector standard of Captain Morgan.
I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So I turn on my phone screen. So for the longest time, Connor might remember this. Do you remember what was on my lock screen for the longest time?
It was from Princess Mononoke, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's how long. So he remembers from the last time we worked together. That's what my phone screen was. That's how long my lock screen was till a couple weeks ago.
And what is it now?
I've updated to Lycoris Recoil.
Ah, I see.
Yes, it's
That good, huh?
Yeah, it's that good of an anime.
Mine's just my dead dog, so I'm afraid if I get rid of it, my mind will delete him. Anyway.
Damn.
Why?
Took that mooch.
Well, I have like issues.
I
where
want to talk about.
freaking superstitious.
I'm over here want to talk about fun anime involving the female equivalent of John Wick, also known as Chisato.
Love
And
it.
you're over here talking about your deceased dog. Now I'm sad.
It's a big topic for me.
I gotta drink some water to make me sober.
I have a
now.
pit bull
I
now,
can't
though,
drink
okay.
right now.
Yeah, Pitbull's nice.
She's good.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, the one thing I did hear about the show is that she uses armor-piercing rubber bullets. That is a thing, correct?
Yeah, non-lethal bullets.
Yes.
She is also the female equivalent of Vash the Stampede.
I didn't get that.
You haven't seen Trigun,
No.
which is a shame.
Dishonor upon myself, I understand.
Hey, we got a whole winter, and I got a lot.
Winter is coming.
I got a whole winter, and I got a lot of content I want to make.
Oh, boy.
And not all that's educational.
We need more.
I don't know how we can
Yeah.
tie Trigun into Read Out Productions, but
We can make it work.
yeah, we made it work. I mean,
We will find some-
we're gonna make 86 and the movie Glory work. So
Well, it just does. I mean, that's just...
it just does.
It just works.
You've seen the movie Glory, Mike. No, you've not seen the movie Glory.
No.
I haven't either.
Well, even better.
Most of my friend group has just not seen movies.
We're
That's
not-
Just,
No.
yeah.
I'm over here, the
We
cinephile.
have things to do.
Well, I have things to do too.
I like films. I just like really dumb ones.
But every now and then, well, that's the thing is we like B movies. And we like exploring the dregs of filmmaking.
We like looking at the worst of the worst.
And every now and then you watch a movie, and at the end of it you say movies were a mistake.
Yeah, I've said that like many times.
Oh, while we're talking, we're not going to meet it. Mike, do you have the story pulled up?
I believe
Chapter
so.
6.
Royal Read, it'll be the final chapter. Okay? I just want to make sure. We're not going to go just in yet, but I just want to make sure.
It should be soon throughout the
So we don't scare you.
Shall all be free.
So we don't scare you. But yeah, I mean, this has been a journey.
It has an Odyssey even.
I mean, we started doing this because I thought I was never going to hit 1,000 subscribers again. I thank everybody for that. So I made like a humble collector over here came up with the idea. It's like, you need to do this John Brown Isekai. You got to read it. And I'm like, all right, fine. We'll do it for like a subscriber special. That way nobody will ever hear it. 1 month later.
Well, what's funny is we filmed
Actually, less than a month.
When we filmed this, you were at what, 950?
Yeah. No, I was not even there yet. I was like 900.
Yeah, no, it was like every week I check your channel and you have like another 20 subscribers and you're like, yes, it's all coming together.
Well, you were. I was like, oh shit.
You were watching your impending doom approaching. I'm like dancing.
Connor making ghost accounts just subscribe so we can just post it.
Well, yeah, because it's being posted on my channel. His credibility ain't going to be ruined.
Let the record show, not yet. Let the record show that I did not create a single ghost account for this.
So you don't have any?
None.
How did you?
Oh, what? I have like 17.
At least 3 of mine.
Get the free samples, you know?
What free samples have I given out?
No.
And I think it's funny that you talk about my credibility when I literally said on the first episode that my 1,000 subscriber special, we were going to sit down and we were going to watch Girls in Panzer.
I'm still holding
So if you want us to all get drunk and watch Girls Unpanzered, where anime girls drive World War II tanks.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Exactly. No, not to me, to Humble Collector. Mm-hmm. It don't work if you subscribe to me. You have to subscribe to him.
Subscribe to Humble Collector. He's a bitch.
That's glowing praise.
For the record,
Jess.
Jess may or may not be related to Humble Collector, so
we're siblings.
Yeah,
we
she's
do
allowed
that
to say that stuff here.
Yeah, I kid. He's my best friend.
If I say it, he throws me out in the car for night.
Well, we were all thinking.
To Jess, bitch is a term of endearment, so.
Yeah, if I call you something nice, that's not good.
Oh no.
And while we're talking, I want to give a wonderful shout out to a gentleman on Instagram. I had Instagram on while they're rambling. If you've ever heard of the Uniformed Historian, he's a historian, I believe, living historian as well. He's just now in the process of posting some stuff from Gettysburg. He's just at the 16th Pennsylvania Cavalry Monument. I want to say that was at the East Cavalry Field, but I don't recognize this location. It must be somewhere else we'll have to visit. He says it's the least visited monument on the battlefield. And it's very out of the way. Literally everything else on the field. So, something to consider about. Anyways, he's a cool gentleman. He's been doing a lot to try to get promotion for the Buffington Island battlefield, which is out, believe it, in southeastern Ohio. Yes, there was a Civil War battle in Ohio.
Oh, man.
It wasn't a big battle,
Ohio.
but there was a battle. And they were working to get money raised to purchase some of the battlefield on behalf. The American Battlefield Trust was going to purchase on behalf of them. I don't know the results of that fundraiser. I did contribute a small donation. Unfortunately, I could not contribute much, but I did contribute a small donation. Anyways, Uniform Historian, a lot of his stuff, he goes to grave sites of Civil War soldiers in uniform and then tells about that person's life. So he has a lot of cool videos to check out. So that's the Uniform Historian. I'm just giving the shout out just because we're talking about Civil War stuff, and he's been on my mind for a little while now with Buffington Island. So yeah, go to Uniformed Historian. Now to John Brown.
Yeah.
John Brown and his cat girls.
Yes. Now, since we're starting with a note from the Cabbage Preacher here, would you like to lead us in here? Read out.
Yes. Unfortunately, this is the last chapter of John Brown's otherworldly adventures. Perhaps, if you're still hungry for silly and subversive isekai stories, you'd like to check out my other story, The Errant Otherworldly Watanabe.
Otherworlder.
Otherworlder.
Damn, that rum just
close.
slapped you.
It's tasting really good, though.
I make a good rum and coke. I got some.
I thought you weren't drinking 100 proof.
The Errant Otherworld Watanabe.
I'm out 100 proof.
After reading this chapter. So, the Cabbage Preacher, who's the author of the John Brown Isekai, also has another story, the errant otherworlder Watanabe, which can also be found on royalreader.com. It's her main story that she's put the most most of her focus on.
That'd be royalroad.com.
Royal Road. Did I say reader?
Yeah, you did say reader.
You're trying your best if you could.
This is going to be a good chapter.
Oh, I'm feeling it. Yeah.
But anyways, the Cabbage Preacher has put a lot of effort into the errant otherworlder Watanabe. So be sure to check that out as well. If you want to support the author of the John Brown Isekai, be sure to support her other works.
Indeed.
Ideology contradictions afflicted the slave system even before the war began. John Brown knew the masters secretly feared their slaves might revolt, even as they assured abolitionists that slaves really liked slavery. One reason his Harper's Ferry raid prompted such an outcry in the South was that slave owners feared their slaves might join him. After all, if Brown was truly dangerous, his slave owners claimed, then slavery was truly unjust. Happy slaves would never revolt. James W. Lowen. Lies my teacher told me. Everything your American history textbook got wrong, 2008. And that's actually a pretty entertaining book. I've read excerpts from it.
I've actually never read it.
Yeah. It's basically just like, this is why your textbook's awful.
We have actually a really cool map here.
Yep.
Territories of the Empire of Gimenplatz, 18th of Fall, 859. With Empire control and federal control.
Hopefully, I remember as an editor to throw this map up because it's quite detailed. Pretty coll.
Yeah, we even have the Battle of Fairfield marked there, the 11th of Fall, 859.
Do I get to, is there now a national battlefield?
It is. Are we going to establish a battlefield trust?
Are we going to go visit it?
We should.
Yeah, we're going to establish the Gimenplatz Battlefield Trust. We're going to preserve all battlefields.
The GBP.
Only if I can be a cat girl.
Marketing now.
Only if I can be a cat girl.
Sure.
Well, sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you really threw that yeah in there.
You have to.
So,
Then yeah.
Humble Collector, catch Mike up on what he's missing because he hasn't last listened in since chapter 2.
Yeah, so you've only heard what's aired up to this point. Up to chapter 2.
Yes.
So chapter 3, John Brown creates an army and besieges the town of Fair. And in chapter 4, the town of Fair is captured.
Do they acquire more firearms somewhere in there?
There are no firearms.
Okay.
No, yeah, we're
He's
pretty
got ammo.
we're pretty
John
medieval.
Brown loses his last bullet to kill the guy who bought IMID.
Oh, spoilers. Okay.
That happened in chapter 1.
It was worth it.
But
Oh, spoilers.
It was worth it.
it was worth it, you know. But yes, they captured the town, established the new government, and then in chapter 5, the Imperial Army showed up to try to stop them. There was a battle, and the army got defeated. And it appears that
The bad army, not the good army.
The bad army, yeah, the good army held out. They took some casualties, but everybody important survived. And yeah, now I guess so. The way this is going to work, Read Out, Jess, they're going to keep playing their parts.
We're gonna popcorn.
We're gonna popcorn these paragraphs here.
Okay.
So I'll start off, and then I'll point at you when you're up. A week after the Battle of Fairfield, the captive Duke of Nord-Algemen, Robert, officially surrendered his territory to the Federal Republic of Gimenplatz. He was found guilty of owning slaves and defending the institution of slavery, and was hanged for his vile crimes after the trial. He be the last Duke of Nord-Algemen.
The next few months were busy. The League of Galadites, the League of Galadites traveled from settlement to settlement, ensuring that this surrender was enforced. The last remaining noblemen tried to hold on to their territory, but it was too little, too late for them.
Brown had sparked the fire of revolution, both figuratively and literally, that could not be put down by even the greatest of hydromancers.
Having ensured control of the duchy, the Provincial Congress... Provisional Congress convened
See, that rum ain't just hitting me, buddy.
I'm on 4 sleep. I ran a 5K, okay? Having assured control of the duchy, the Congress convened one last time in Fair with additional representatives sent from all over the formal duchy. A second constitutional convention was held.
Oh, God.
This time to decide on a more permanent constitution for the young republic. Again, noble titles, which there weren't many left in the duchy after the battle, were rejected as all citizens were declared to be equal under the new law of the land.
Boy, you know what's better than Constitutional Convention?
A second constitutional
Convention.
Hey, they've had more than we've had.
Brown stepped down as Commander-in-Chief. The title was abolished and its responsibilities taken up by the presidency. His high rank had left him forced to sit behind a desk and deal with the bureaucracy of an army instead of being on the field. He continued his military career as Captain Brown, not in the League of Gileadites, but in the newly established army of Gimenplatz.
After 2 weeks filled with many long debates and passionate speeches, some made by Brown...
megaphone! Yeah, there was a whole segment. You missed.
He had a megaphone.
Homie was yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he was yelling, I was yelling. It was great. We were all yelling.
After 2 weeks filled with many long debates and passionate speeches, some made by Brown himself on the role of the President, Congress, and the newly established states, the convention ended.
I wonder what Brown's real world... I gotta go back and research like what his real world opinions were of like prior presidents. I could take a guess of George Washington.
Yeah.
Considering that one of the people that were held captive by Brown at Harper's Ferry was actually a descendant of Washington. Yeah, believe it or not.
Really, of Martha.
Well, yeah, it was one of them situations. Or it was one of like... It wasn't a direct descendant, but it was...
But it related to Washington, though, in some way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, I mean, we all know. Myth has it that Brown actually had a sword that was given to George Washington by Frederick the Great. He captured it at the start of the raid from this Washington descendant.
Wait, Frederick the Great gave Washington a sword?
Supposedly.
When?
Allegedly.
When?
Shortly after the
1938.
Revolution, shipped it over. And, of course, it's alleged because, well, it was destroyed in the fire.
The 1812 fire or the...
No, I believe the fire in the Centennial in Philadelphia, the Centennial Expedition. You know, the same fire that destroyed the Niagara and the Lawrence and all other things.
Oh, yeah, that fire. You should do a video on that.
I should.
Put that in the... Yeah.
I'm going to put that right in the Constitution. Remember, right? Do video on Centennial fire. Okay, good.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut off your thought.
No, that was it.
Okay. The Provisional Congress dissolved itself as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Gimenplatz officially came into effect.
Unlike the first election, where a small population that lived in 2 towns participated, the newly commenced election required a whole lot more work due to the expanded scope of it. Officials had to be recruited to count votes. Rural populations had to be informed that there was an election. Candidates had to campaign, etc., etc.
This mechanism of the election had to be simple and a bit crude to fit the world it was taking place in. Since parchment was expensive, votes had to be expressed vocally to the officials who would record the vote. Abandoned offices of the Adventurers Guild were used as polling stations. Voters were given a week to cast their votes.
Nope, I can't say what I want to say. Keep moving.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
Yes, sir.
YouTube won't allow me.
Hang on YouTube. Snitch.
Despite the difficulties, the elections managed to conclude without any outstanding incidents. But counting provisional President Ain.
I was using
Ain.
Ain.
Provisional President Ain was elected again to become the President Ain of the Anti-Adventurers League. That's no fun. And the Congress made many new members as new states were added to the Republic.
So Ain's actually
She a Karen or whatever.
well,
during the Battle of Fair, she was like, "Oh, there's a guy yelling about freeing the slaves. I'm going to burn the harbor down."
Just because.
Oh, she also she the one that was outspoken. Like, wait a minute, Brown. Like,
What do you mean by citizens here?
Yeah,
Brown.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Brown.
Owned.
And then Brown's like, I mean everybody. So, shh. But yeah, she got elected, and also the Anti-Adventurers League. It was like some sort of like a resistance movement in the city or something.
It was like a pre-existing abolitionist movement
in the city, like isolated from Brown stuff. But then they kind of unified.
It's a work of fiction.
Okay, I was like, I can't tell you guys are talking about real things and not real.
I know. I'm
I'm like,
no, it's in the story. No. The anti-adventurers.
There was no anti-adventurers league in real life.
I was confused. I was like, who the fuck doesn't want adventure?
That's right. There's no anti-adventurers league, therefore there still is an adventurers league.
Mike and Jessica over here are going to form the real life anti-adventurers league.
No, I love adventure.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to form the system that's going to fight the anti-adventurers league.
Yeah. If you're in that, I'm gonna fight you. Punch, punch, kick.
Where were we at?
The Battle of Fairfield had repercussions outside of the former duchy as well. The army of Gimenplatz, now 2,000 strong, expanded their estate raids to outside the borders of the duchy and began more frequent sieging and taking border towns and even cities. The empire was in crisis. While the Wasso border region was not that dire of a situation, strikes on the more economically viable areas were slowly but surely bleeding the treasury dry.
You carried our humble
Yeah, I'm trying to hiccup, but I'm not there. Okay, so, and we have another map here. Territories of the Empire of Gimenplatz, 74th of Spring, 860.
Oh, we're going to see like a time lapse, I think.
We are. We're going to watch the Empire collapse IRL.
Woo!
My favorite.
The Empire couldn't mobilize easily to respond due to being a large and vaguely feudal empire with many bickering lords.
There's your first problem.
Yeah.
Only the few dukes in the empire could match the coordinated army of Gimenplatz on the field, and tried they did to no avail.
Wow, it's starting to look like a map of Berlin here. Territories of the Empire of Gimenplatz, 90th Spring 860. We have various rebel factions forming in the previous empire. Slowly but surely, the forces of reaction crumbled under those motivated by a desire to march forward. Brown and Iamite participated in countless raids, field battles, sieges, which will hopefully be capitalized in the extended work.
A spark that jumped out of the cave had caused the greatest fire the continent had ever seen. This fire was fueled not by overpowered heroes, rich noblemen, or charismatic strongmen. Nay, this fire was maintained by thousands of ordinary men uniting behind fellow ordinary men to fight for the cause of liberty and freedom.
So you mean this is the Bestigo fire of 18-something or other, right?
Do they have marshmallows?
Yeah.
It killed like 1,000 people, but nobody knows about it because of the Chicago fire.
I was about to say, I'd never heard of this before.
I don't know if it's truly Bestigo or it's like Shigo in the Peace Island, like my last name. But, yeah, it was a big fire, killed like 1,000 Americans, but nobody remembers it because the Chicago fire happened at the same time. It's the deadliest fire in American history. And I just realized we're not talking about literal fire, we're talking about metaphorical fire, so I apologize.
It fits, don't worry about it.
Fire is fire, man. I don't know.
Observing the crumbling empire, President Ain ordered a grand campaign down south to capture the capital to bring an end to the Empire of Gimenplatz. What had begun as a simple divine mission to end slavery was ending in the complete upending of the old order. Captain Brown and Captain Iamite rode to battle for one last time as they joined the army of Gimenplatz in their march. Are they going to raise the flag over the Reichstag?
I hope.
I really hope so.
I hope.
Battle of Berlin, let's go!
Dmitry Petrenko's gonna raise it.
I played World of War. I got that reference.
Yeah, it was. I miss
good old Reznov.
I miss World of War.
I do too. We could go play it again.
Yeah, that's true.
Have it here. It's literally never.
You're giving me ideas.
All right, moving on. There's another map here. It looks really cool. All right, go ahead, Mike.
All right, let's see. The 1st Infantry Division, comprised of 5,000 troops, stood before the walls of Hauptstadt. Commanding it was General Iamite. Commanding one of its elite companies was Captain Brown.
So that's an interesting choice of the German there, because Hauptstadt, Stadt would be city, and Haupt would be, well, Hauptmann would be a captain. So I guess this is literally just capital city is Hauptstadt.
Doesn't sound as cool when you break it down.
I'm sorry, I just nerded out a little bit.
Nerd.
Well, that's really the shoe calling the kettle black, ain't it?
Huh?
What? Isn't that how the expression goes?
You're a nerd all the while. I'm going to read this wonderful book
on
this
2000.
very
No,
battle.
It's not the shoe calling the kettle
war.
black. It's the pot calling the kettle. Whatever.
That's confusing.
We're all nerds here.
Oh God, the British are struggling to supply their own men. This is so fascinating.
All right, moving on. The last year had been tough on the big old empire. Having lost many of its territories and existing territories already devastated, it could hardly survive, yet the defenders were still determined to do their best against the attackers, to defend against those who had brought its end. The ancient walls of Hauptstadt had never fallen to barbarians before, and they thought that this auspicious trend would continue.
Unfortunately for the defenders, they were facing an army determined to finish things quickly, quietly, and efficiently.
Men of the Union!
Began Brown addressing his troops.
Here we march on the lair of evil, wherein those who have been benefited from your slave lie. You have not given the tyrants a wink of sleep. Now it is time for you to do them a favor and send them to eternal slumber.
This time, the army had a superweapon that was visually much more impressive compared to the famous megaphone of Fer. A cure for the ancient walls had been found after a year of racking brains.
What? Is this not good enough? Are you not entertained?
The men slowly dragged the weapon to battle, pointing it at the walls. The officers of the army observed the giant metal object be seated to an elevated position.
Mr. Brown, is this your giant metal megaphone? Asked Iamite in jest. She had helped develop it. She already knew what it was. Do you intend to burn this whole city down with your incendiary words?
No, young lady, replied Brown. I intend to do some geomancy, as you call it.
The pyromancers around the weapon cast their spells as the beast spewed out fire and smoke, the likes of which had probably never been seen before. Yet it was still impressive performance to come out of something that wasn't a slave or otherworlder with a cheat skill.
Dang, that's awesome.
Yeah.
When
I like
charcoal,
artillery.
I love artillery.
when charcoal was burnt by pyromancers quickly enough, it acted like a low explosive. With many trials and errors, mostly in error, the main inspiration for this came from a pyromancer blowing their house up when trying to start fire in their furnace.
Good job, John.
Yep.
They had created an effect similar to exploding gunpowder without needing sulfur or saltpeter. A cannon was made by putting charcoal inside a cast metal tube, and that tube had contained a giant boulder that was heading for the walls of the city.
Now, question. Hypothetical question, I guess. So we know that magic users are relatively uncommon. They're around, but they're not like, you know, it's not like everybody can cast magic. So
in the book, not in real life.
Yeah, in the book. Well, not in real life.
Well, real life has magic.
But anyway, I guess my question is, wouldn't it be beneficial, given the relative scarcity of magic users in this world, to develop actual gunpowder? Because it's not like saltpeter and sulfur are particularly difficult ingredients to acquire.
But do saltpeter and sulfur exist in this world?
Well, I would assume if the world has volcanic activity, sulfur should be readily available, and saltpeter could be harvested from what, backguano?
Who's saltpeter?
I don't know, man. I only read the books and tell the public what they say.
Fair enough. One rock wasn't strong enough to bust down the walls, but several cannons firing in succession eventually caused the ancient walls to quickly surrender to the forces of modernity. Smoke from the crumbling walls rose to the heavens, creating a wall of fog that left the surrounding area invisible for a few minutes.
While the garrison was in chaos, the men had already quietly entered the fog and breached the city. Already low morale had crumbled to dust, just like the walls. The garrison surrendered en masse without a proper battle even beginning.
Yet it was not over. The palace had walls of its own, though those were quickly taken care of by the giant metal megaphones. So, instead of artillery, are at least called megaphones in this world?
I love this.
I love this. This is quite nice. The elite guard put up more of a fight, yet their elite status mattered not, for they fought men who accepted no elites above them. Brown and Iamite, who, while being a high-ranking general, still preferred to get into the action herself, breached the palace, followed by their most skilled troops.
The guards were put down, one by one, until the party entered the throne room itself. Unsurprisingly, it was empty. The emperor had escaped long ago, yet he was as good as dead.
Iamite approached the throne that sat at the end. It was showy, made of silk and gold. She was born in some faraway village and had dropped to the bottom of the ladder by being enslaved. Now, she sat on the throne of the emperor.
Only literally, of course. She'd not lived for long if she'd actually tried to climb emperorship.
It's not satisfying as I thought it'd be.
What enchants men is not the cushiony seats or the showy room. It's the control and power they'd exert while sitting on that throne, replied Brown. That sort of throne is only fit for the Lord to sit on at the pearly gates, not for a mortal man to play the part of God.
Probably the biggest Christian I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's not mine.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
What are you thinking?
The big Lord Git has escaped, and I don't know any gates of pearl, thought Iamite. She and the other men had gotten used to the failed evangelization attempts of Old Brown.
Thus concluded the siege of Hofstadt.
The Empire of
The
Empire of Gimenplatz.
You haven't given in to the Stockholm.
The Empire of Gimenplatz ended not in a bang, but a whimper.
The emperor was absent, so the one to officially accept the surrender of the empire was the mayor of the city, who had organized their last offense. The remnants of the empire quickly dissolved when their capital was lost. Most of the unorganized rebel groups that had risen up in the chaos entered the republic as new states.
Gimenplatz had, after a long year of war, entered a state of peace. Finally, swords would be beaten into plowshares. Oh, that's a good magic card. And a grand era of reconstruction would truly begin.
The army was greatly demobilized, so the troops could return to more productive enterprises. With the slaves being free and everyone free of their noble oppressors, an era of prosperity could begin.
The Adventurers Guild, which had only slayed monsters and solved problems when given money, had taken a huge blow during the war and was already on its way out. Most states of the Republic elected to establish special militias that do the same job without the exorbitant prices of the Guild, leading to an explosion in the population of rural areas, which were now much safer.
Speaking of rural areas, the communal farms that had been established back in Fair expanded to the rest of the Republic. Is this a communist type of? I'm just saying, communal farms didn't go very well in our world, so I'm just curious. In Fair, expanded the rest of the Republic, replacing the exploitive estates of old. Instead of demotivated and reluctant slaves being forced to work, the new farms, where men would get a fair share, proved efficient as the employees, who were also the owners, were far more motivated to work. This is a commune. Yeah. This cooperative form of ownership slowly spread to other industries of the Republic as well.
You know, funny enough, not far from here, there was an American attempt at a cooperative farming community.
You talking about Norville?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Future video, by the way.
Yeah, no, Norville's a very interesting
No, it is on my dock to do a video on. I just haven't had time to get out there. I mean, it was nowhere like it was a way more complex version of a cooperative farm community, and it was, I think, it's one of so many. There's another one down in West Virginia. They actually have a museum up today. I want to go visit that one as well. So there were several that they set up that FDR tried setting up, and
during the Depression.
They worked for about a decade, and then everybody was like, "No, dude, I'm going to go to the town with all the private jobs because they pay more." That was literally the end of most of FDR's cooperative communities. Because everybody's like, "Nah, I'm going to go back to the towns with the private jobs." Yeah, I just thought about that then. That's my only real exposure to like cooperative communities, which I know cooperative farming, like in the United States, is completely different from cooperative farming in communist Soviet Union, which led to did lead to genocide with the Holodomor.
All right, moving on. Prosperity and the egalitarian environment ripe for free thought also caused the realm to experience steady technological advancement, enlisting the help of other worlders who still visited their world after being isekai'd. Did they have choice?
No, I don't think so.
You have no choice.
The people of Gimenplatz began producing paper, using that paper in the printing press, and using the material printed to spread the technological
Oh wow, they didn't even have printing before Brown showed
Interesting.
up. That's interesting.
So who was the nerd that got Isekai who was like, I know how to build a printing press? like
you didn't say that nerdy enough.
Who was the nerd who was like, yes, I'm a printing press nerd. I built a printing press out of Legos in my mom's basement.
Who's that bitch that's made it?
What?
We know about the bitch who made it.
No.
What?
Wasn't that a thing when we were homeschooled? But like,
oh, you mean the guy who made the printing press in real life?
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What is the Gutenberg? Right?
What's his name?
Yeah, the guy who made the printing press in the 1400s.
History doesn't occur to me.
It was the Gutenberg printing press, right?
History doesn't start for me until May 28, 1754.
Man, I don't know things.
Hold on. I'm fairly certain
Google
it's Gutenberg.
time.
Well, why don't you Google? Might continue reading.
Technological renaissance. Thousands had lost their lives during this revolution, yet the lives
Yeah, the Gutenberg
lost.
press. Yeah, that was right.
Gutenberg.
Mm-hmm.
Good man, Gutenberg. Yet the lives lost had provided the tree of liberty the sustenance it needed to finally bloom in Gimenplatz. Millions now lay protected under the shade of the tree of liberty.
Was everything perfect? No. Due to the rapid expansion of the Republic, the newly added territories experienced corruption and mismanagement. There were reports of gerrymandering and tampering with the elections in those same territories, along with people attacking former slaves in retaliation. The Constitution was a bit of a mess that needed amending, and some of the population had problems accepting that they were equal to their fellow men.
Be gone, demon.
Okay.
Yes.
Just leave the sound to those people's thoughts. Those probably can piece together what just happened.
Yet, now it was better than the empire of old. For most, that was all that mattered as they looked to live their lives and look forward to the future and beyond.
And there's a wonderful photo there of Brown's grave. He is soon to be joined by his brother and several other remains from Harper's Ferry.
Today was a beautiful day like any other in Gimenplatz. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, the cat girls were now free. You know, the usual.
I love that continuity.
I do. Yeah.
Situated in a park near Liberty Cave was a relatively unnoticeable grave. One of its regular visitors was a particular demi-human.
The man buried there was a familiar figure to many in the Republic, yes, but not many had been as familiar with this man as she was.
The woman in question was in her late 30s, and she was wearing an old military uniform that she had not worn in service for 20 years.
She cleaned the epitaph of the grave, making sure no speck of dust was left on the gravestone. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Captain John Brown's body lies moldering here in his grave.
She
Sorry, John Brown. Damn. You're so good. She shat down. You literally the most emotional fucking moment of this entire.
You blew it. You blew it.
Damn, Shotty.
Holy no. It's good. Recompose. She sat down next to the grave for a while, reminiscing about the good and bad old days. She left a yellow rose on the grave before standing up to leave the park.
She passed many people in the park while leaving it. Nobody took notice of her demi-human features. She was just another human equal to them. At that moment, she thought of a suitable conclusion to the epitaph of the man's grave. But his soul goes marching on.
John Brown's
The end.
body lies moldering in the grave.
And we got a note from Cabbage Preacher at the end there.
Brown's body lies moldering in the grave.
John Brown's body lies moldering in the grave,
but his soul goes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His soul